welcome to Forever Great in Conversation. It's season 2, episode 1, and we're in 2021. Hello and welcome. Thank you for listening to the podcast in 2020 and also for enjoying all the videos from the YouTube channel. Very much appreciated. Now, I want to kick off 2021 with a wellness special, and I'm delighted to welcome 3 awesome Scots who are doing some great stuff with loads of wellness activity across their communities. We have AYESHA SHAHID. Give us a wave, AYESHA. We have got Lorna Dugan. Lorna.
Hi.
And we have got Ricky Singh, who's up in the corner as well. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Great to have the 3 of you with me this morning. Thanks for being part of Forever Great in Conversation. Now, we're going to get right into this. There's been a lot of interest in this conversation. There's been several people reach out to say, this is great, Frank, can't wait to hear what they've got to say, because everyone's feeling a bit kind of blah right now, aren't they? I think everyone's feeling focus is hard. Where do they start with the wellness activity? And what do they eat? How do they exercise when they're not going to the gym or the gyms are closed? And how can we control the brain of ours or the mind of ours to look after ourselves? So talking about the mind, let's get straight into this, Lorna, and come over to you and get dark around all things mind that happens in our heads. So my first question across to Lorna is, when it comes to exercise or general well-being, looking after yourself, how much do you say, based on your expertise, is the mind in control of that? So that kind of inner critic, I would say, how much does the mind dictate what we do?
Okay, so I think to kick it off, I think it's fair to say, as human beings, we are super intelligent, aren't we? So we've put men and women in the moon. We have invented penicillin, so keeping us alive, keeping us well. We've invented the television. So we have created so much stuff that we all now cannot live without. So it's fair to say we're smart, right? But yet, when you're talking about subjects like today, talking about healthy eating and exercising more, we tend to find ourselves running the same negative patterns over and over and over again. So we know that eating too much fat or sugar isn't good for us, and yet we find ourselves, standing poised over the snack drawer, stuffing our faces with the crisps and chocolate, or having that one glass too many, knowing fine that that's not doing us any favours, and actually the best thing would be to get up off watching Netflix and get outside and into the fresh air. So why do we keep doing those things over again, despite us knowing better? So here's the answer. We have, let me split it into 2 ways. So we have our conscious mind, and that is our rational thinking mind. So that's the one that helps us, it's logical, it's rational, it's objective, it makes really good decisions and choices for us. It keeps us safe, it's great. That means, so we might not choose to have the second piece of cake because we've consciously decided that the pleasure of enjoying this cake and eating this cake is far outweighed by the time that it would take us to work it off at the gym to work off the calories. So we consciously made a really good, safe and rational choice for ourselves. But the thing is, Frank, this is where your piece is coming in, the inner voice, I can't, I won't, I'm not good enough, comes into play. So it's not just our conscious mind that makes decisions for us. There's also our subconscious mind that's at play. And that one is very much about emotions and our feelings and past experiences, behaviours and stuff. So which mind is stronger? Imagine this, just to make it dead easy for you. Imagine a huge iceberg and it's floating through the ocean, yeah? So the tip of the iceberg is sticking outside the water, which I would say, let's put it as that's your equivalent of your conscious, your thinking mind. Now, underneath the water, which is invisible to the eye, lies a majority of the iceberg, which equates to your subconscious or your emotional part of your mind, your feelings part. And this part is way bigger, way larger. And that's the part that, in fact, actually moves the iceberg. Well, kind of moves the human being as well, so your subconscious part of the mind. So the irony of all of this is you would think that the rational, intelligent, independent thinking tip of the iceberg would be the part that would make the decisions and would be in control. But the truth is, that we're more emotional creatures, we're more than we are rational thinkers or rational beings. So it's our subconscious emotional mind that very much drives the majority of our behaviours.
I love the analogy, but what I really like about that's again important, I think, to jump on very quickly is this: which mind is stronger? I love that what you said there. Which mind is stronger? Is it the conscious mind? Is it the subconscious mind? And us being aware as citizens, as humans, that we have got a decision to make. We can say, I'm listening to this one and I'm listening to this one. Very quickly, Lorna, before I jump over to Ricky, from an exercise perspective, do you feel though that the current times that we're in is giving us all extra pressure on those two minds though? Based on COVID, based on being locked down, we've not got the freedoms that we had before. You're bound to, I would imagine, are seeing some really interesting conversations from clients right now based on lockdown and where we are. It's nearly been a year.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic point, actually, Frank. I think, and actually threads in nicely to what I've just saying there, the subconscious mind, it's the one that is stronger and it is unconscious. Like, we don't know why we do certain things. That's why we're like, why am I doing this from? And in the time that we're living in right now, you think about what I said there, it's the one that's all about our emotions, our feelings, our past experience. It's about our emotional beliefs, our belief systems. I mean, that's what we believe to be true about the map of the world. Our value systems in there. So the stuff that's been taken away from us, the certainty. You can imagine how we're all really struggling because our subconscious is way stronger. So it's overpowering that rational, right? Okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel. The government's got this in place. The medics are good. You know, rational says that, but subconscious is going, oh my God, no, we're feeling. So yeah, that's definitely having. It is. I think the key for me is understanding that about yourself, though.
Yeah, allowing yourself to understand it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, Ricky, let's have a chat with yourself, Ricky. So, Ricky, you are a personal trainer. You've got a gym in Glasgow. You've been very successful in your time. I've known you for some time in this field. Your industry's been through a real tough year, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we've been closed now. So obviously we were closed in the first lockdown. We were closed for 6 months, and then we kind of got open a wee bit, and now we've been kind of closed again. So we are kind of feeling it hard. It's just a tough one, but it's what I was been speaking about with many of our friends. It's not just the sector or any sector we're doing poorly now. It's everybody's in the same kind of position. Like a lot of everybody's struggling right now. It's not just the gyms that overnight they've just kind of fell off the ship, that kind of thing. It's like everybody's in a hard place, and there's only a few businesses that are actually doing quite well. And like you were saying there, just with the kind of feeling, you just kind of, everybody's just feeling a bit rotten just now. There isn't much good stuff to kind of be happy about. Do you know what I mean? It's
that's how we're having this conversation, guys, to try and inspire the mind, inspire what we can do exercise-wise with gyms closed, and obviously what we can eat. Ricky, in terms of the exercise piece, it's obviously well out there. There's an abundance of research that exercise is good for us in so many ways. Obviously, people are restricted right now. They can't go to their swimming pool. They can't go to the local gym, to their Zumba class, to their dance class. I mean, it's really hard. Before we get into some of the things that people can do later on to look after themselves at home exercise-wise, what is it that you've seen, or what's the kind of intrinsic skill set or mindset that your clients have that you would say, if you look at your clients you've had over the years, the ones that reach the goal, the ones that get the job done, the ones that come every week, and what is it that they've got that maybe some of us haven't got? What is that thing they've got?
I've seen it from over the time. Like even with my clients, a lot of my clients just now are struggling. Even if they're training with me, they're still feeling the pressure of being in lockdown. I'm not just going to come on here and say, "Oh, my clients are doing brilliant." They're smashing it. Like, a lot of them are struggling with it, and a lot of them are finding it hard. What I can say is, like, from exercise, when you start training, you're going to feel better. You've got like kind of the hormones and stuff, like endorphins and serotonin and all that. Once all that kind of starts happening, you start feeling a bit better. But I'd probably say the ones that kind of come in and do well and actually do get success is probably the ones that know why they're doing it. So like kind of
why
you'll get like a male who's coming in to train with you. He's overweight, he's tired, he's exhausted, he runs his own company, and this guy needs more energy. He needs to be able to play with his kids at the weekend. He can't afford to kind of be sitting in bed all weekend. So that kind of guy is kind of the one that kind of needs it to kind of, because obviously he wants to spend time with his quality time with his family. So I found that if you know why you're doing something, like, so like for then, if you're getting married and you need to lose a bit of weight, so you've got that goal at the end, whereas the ones that come and don't really know what they're doing, I just want to come and lose a bit of weight or get a bit fit, they're the ones that kind of trip up along the road to the journey. They'll keep going and they'll all get success at some point, but to get that real success you're talking about, Frank, is the one that really know why they're doing it. Like, I need to train because my wife needs me to help her at the weekend, look after the kids, or I need to go to football with the kids. I want to play with my kids. I don't want to feel puffed out running after my wee boy at the park, things like that. And I think they're the really good whys, and they're the ones that really hit home.
I think that's real. I think there's some great points in amongst that, Ricky, around the why. It's like everything in life, isn't it? We're always encouraged to think about the why, the why, the why. And when it comes to the mind, why is it important to look after the mind? Well, of course it is. Why is it important to look after fitness? Well, because there's things that it can help us with in so many ways. And nicely jumping over to AYESHA, some great points there, Ricky. Thank you so much. Going over to AYESHA in terms of the food side. AYESHA, so when the mind's in a decent place, we're doing a bit of healthy exercise when we can. Obviously, food's a huge part of this. And what would you say, based on your knowledge, insight and expertise, AYESHA, is the things that are the barriers, if you like, that puts people off potentially with experimenting with food, with being a bit more curious? What's the barriers with the Scots potentially that we don't do enough of exploring food?
I think it's basically comes down to knowledge. I think we've all got our kind of go-tos, our go-to comfort foods, and I think people are maybe scared, unaware of what to do with something new. So it's really lack of knowledge, lack of education. From doing my workshops, that's what I see. It's like nobody really knows what to do with an aubergine or what to do with an avocado. It's like how do I implement that into what I'm currently eating? And I think that's why I'm so passionate about showing people what to do. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's simple steps, introducing small ideas into what they're currently, their plan. So yeah, it's knowledge, it's education, and it's also, I think people think that healthy eating is expensive, but it doesn't have to be. It can be very expensive, but it doesn't have to be. And again, it's just these small things that you can put into your daily routine that doesn't need to be, sky high.
Yeah, and I think it's like, for me, I always think around when you find a new thing to do on your iPhone or on your Samsung, there's a new thing that you think, I've had this phone for years and I didn't realise I could do that with it. You feel that kind of, good God, I can utilise this technology. And it's maybe not the best example, but I remember when I was aware of what I could actually make with an avocado, all the different things I could do with it. Like I could take the nut out, I could stick an egg in it, I could stick it in the microwave. Like, wow, I was blown away by all the things I could do in avocado. And what you have seen as avocados, prices have dropped. You can get they're less expensive now than they were before. But I think it's a really interesting point as well, Aysha. It's around knowledge, isn't it? It's about understanding. It's about giving people the platform on, here's some basic ingredients, but they're full of good stuff, and here's what you can do to make something tasty.
Tasty, yeah, absolutely. It's so important.
Okay, let's get back over to yourself, Lorna, and get back into some mind positive stuff.
All right.
So, is it important, and again, we kind of know where the answer's going with this in some shape or form, but would you say that it's really important that the mind in your conscious and subconscious mind is in a stable place before you embark on your why with Ricky in the gym, or you embark on this kind of healthy eating regime that we all, I'm not everyone, but a lot of people, let's be honest, post-Christmas kick off January with the let's start a new gym, let's start eating avocados, let's start reading a book on how to be more mindful. That's why I wanted us, you guys, as part of this conversation, because your 3 areas of expertise are where people's minds are at this time of year. But how many people, Lorna, continue with it after February? There's a lot of research on that. And would you say it's because, not always, but the mind's the key part of that?
Yeah, I mean, that threads into what we were saying about your subconscious being more powerful, so your values and your beliefs become at play and then they'll overpower you. But I think, going back to your point, is like saying, do you have to be in a good place to embark on, healthy fitness regimes? I believe, and I'm very strong in this belief, is that I think anyone can and should embark on making healthier choices in their lives. Whether that's from healthier eating or whether that's fitness rituals, regardless of how mentally fit that they are or how many limiting subconscious beliefs the individual actually has. One of the quickest and the best ways to break down any of that stuff, so the limiting belief stuff, because that's generally what's at play when someone maybe doesn't want to enter it into a gym. Oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do that. Oh my goodness, I'll fail, they'll laugh at me, all that stuff. The best way to break them down by yourself is to get into situations that actually, or heading into those situations that actually make you feel uncomfortable. So in essence, they actually make you feel a little bit anxious. And by doing those things over and over again will build your confidence in yourself, and then you will find yourself being far more control in your life. And of course, here's a tip as well for anyone who's listening to that and thinking, right, okay, Lorna, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try these new things. I'm going to go for it. Don't be so hard on yourself when you do fall off the wagon or you do make a mistake and you don't get to, reach your weight loss goal or your eating goal or whatever. Stop judging yourself. That voice that you hear internally in your mind, the one that does say, you can't do that, you're no worthy of this, you'll never do that. That isn't you. It is a part of you it's a part of your brain that is very much just trying to prevent you from feelings and emotions of embarrassment, shame, all that sort of stuff, being let down. Just being aware of that, really getting in touch that that's your subconscious mind. It's incredibly powerful, really helpful for you to understand that, but acknowledge that thought. Thank it for coming into your mind. Really appreciate you coming in. I know you're just trying to keep me safe, but you know what? I'm going to batter and I'm going to keep going to make sure that I achieve the things that I do want and to follow your why. Exactly. As Ricky was saying.
I love it, Lorna. I think it's a really profound thing, this whole, when you are embarking in something, you've maybe got that end goal that I want to be better at something, I want to be more fit, and I want to eat healthier. And that people sometimes see the journey ahead as being so long, don't they? It's like, oh, it's going to take me so long to lose that weight. It's going to take me so long, and it's that. I think sometimes time's a barrier for people, isn't it? They see this is 6 months. It's going to take. Oh, it's a year to lose 2 stone, and it's that. It's how people. It's how people allow themselves to. It's not always going to be easy.
And that's the bit where I I'm big on your circle, who's surrounding you, who's your herd. Make sure it's emotionally fit people. It's not someone who wants to bring you down and make you small. That's my language. That is keeping having the right people round about you. Having the right people that want you to do well, that want you to succeed. So that's another ingredient.
Again, I think that's a really powerful point, from the fact that there will be people watching this and listening to this, guys, who potentially are trying to eat healthy, but they may have people thinking, why are you eating healthy? Why are you eating that?
Why are you doing that?
I can't get to gym, but I'm doing some exercise in the back garden. Why are you doing that?
You look all right. That's not wrong with you.
And it's really important that we try and position ourselves away from that kind of a dark
limited thinking.
Exactly. People trying to bring you down. Ricky, let's come off to yourself and get back to the exercise stuff. So where do people start, Ricky? When you talk about find your thing or do something you enjoy doing exercise-wise, because then you'll spring out your bed to go and do it in the morning, rather than that dread of it's raining outside, I'm a runner, I don't want to go. Where do you recommend your clients to start with in terms of finding the thing that's right for them? Now, I appreciate it's kind of different times right now. What's the process of finding the thing that's right for you?
I think the main thing is like you were saying earlier, is just saying, like, you don't need to be like, I get some people saying, oh, I need to get fit first before I come and see go to a gym or go to a personal trainer, or I need to lose a stone before I go to the gym first. You don't. You just need to get started. And getting started, I mean, by get to a gym. So you're in kind of the worst state as you're going to be in, because once you start going to the gym, once you start training with a trainer, you're going to get better. So I always say to clients when they get started with me is, right, you might want to come here and you might want to go into trial running, or you might want to go into boxing, or you want to start doing some sort of specific sport. But I always say to people, first, come here and get fit first, because once you're fit, you can do anything you want. Because when you're fitter, you can go into any sport you want, rather than going in at first, getting deflated because you're not that good at it, just because you're not fit. And then you just go back to stage one, whereas you're back to doing nothing, you're sitting on your couch. But I always say, get yourself fit first, then move into a support that gets you motivated. So you might not be motivated to go running in the morning, but that running is going to get you fitter. It's going to help you lose weight. Whereas in 2 or 3 months' time, you might be very motivated to go to a boxing gym, because you're going to get to meet your pals, do a bit of training, do a bit of sparring. So that motivation to keep you going, the community's there. But it's just the first phase where you need to do the running, you need to put the hard graft in. Is that sometimes what puts people off from getting to that kind of better stage of fitness?
Yeah. That's one of the first times I've heard it explained that way. And I think what I love about what you've just said there is the fact that if you start and you get a bit fitter, you then may become more comfortable doing a sport or doing something else that if you'd started with at the start, you'd have quitted quicker, because you've genuinely just not got the stamina or the strength for that. For example, I know a lot of people who will say, so I run, I love a run. Running works for me. But there's a lot of people it doesn't, and it's because potentially could that be because they're not fit enough to do it, but that aren't. They may need to do something else to get them into a space so that they're then ready to start doing their first run.
Even if they just start a wee bit smaller, do you know what I mean? They start like kind of small steps and just kind of break them in. Like I get some of my friends and that are so unfit, and they go like, oh, I started 5s, I started playing 11 aside, and I was just doing that. And I was like, well, you need to get a wee bit fitter first, and that'll make that easier. Then you can enjoy it. And I just don't think they get them. I don't think people allow themselves that time where, right, okay, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to feel pure rubbish for the next 6 to 8 weeks doing these runs and doing this football. But stick in, and then the good stuff comes towards the end, and then you get into it more.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. I do. I think it's even got me thinking around that whole get fit first. And get fit first small. Do you know, get fit first small. Get fit doesn't mean to say you're running a marathon next week. Do you know, it's like get fit for yourself. Yeah, albeit I'm up for a marathon, guys. You want the 4 of us to do a marathon sometime this year? Yeah, we're up for that. So Ayesha, let's come over to you again. Let's talk more about nutrition and food. Where do people start, Ayesha? So you've had a lot of conversations over the years, I'd imagine, with people who are inspired by your work. Your videos are fantastic on Instagram, your workshops, the food and ingredients you bring to the table and you introduce people to are incredible and represent the world, the flavours of the world. Where would you say, though, people should start? And what I mean by this as well is, if you think of seasonality, so coming into January, and what are the kinds of things people should be eating right now? Where do you advise to kick things off?
Starting, I think you need to start small. I think even with any fitness, I think even you need to think about doing small things within your life. Because if you go, oh, I'm going to change everything, I'm going to change my whole way of eating, it'll never stick. So it's starting small, implement small changes within your life. I always say my top 3 tips I give, and it's 3 things that really changed my life.
Are you listening, Ricky and Lorna? You listen to this?
Definitely.
Folks listen to the podcast and watching. Are you ready to get the tips? Yeah.
They're super simple, and it just seems
go for it.
One, drink more water. It really, really does work. Not only will it give you more energy, you know, it removes. Glad to see it.
As we drink some water.
So if you're going to make a change, maybe do that first. Maybe start to drink 6, 7, 8 glasses of water per day for the next 2 weeks and see how you feel, and you will honestly notice a difference. You know, the second thing for me was eat more vegetables. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean go and buy loads of vegetables that you don't know what to do with. You know, you may currently be eating carrots and peas, maybe add in some broccoli, add in some spinach, just 1 or 2 different vegetables that you're not used to try that, to try and eat a rainbow. I'm always talking about eat a rainbow. And reduce your refined sugars. That one is really super important. So if you're having 2 sugars in your tea, reduce it to 1. If you're having 3 biscuits after dinner, reduce it to 2. You know, these simple tips, don't just go and cut it out, because that's when you'll maybe fail and then feel deflated. but actually just making these small changes over time, you'll start to not want the sugar. So actually, yeah, it's as simple as that. That's what I said, start small.
Yeah, there's a real connection with what you're all saying, which I think is really important. That what this podcast and Forever Great Conversation video will do, we'll share with people that they're all connected, aren't they? Everything's kind of connected in some shape or form. Okay, Lorna, let's talk about a technique. So, in terms of people watching or listening to this that are, I mean, I think everyone more than ever are battling a bit with some form of mental health right now, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. Personally, it's something that I've been struggling with in the past year than I've ever have in my life before. And I'm someone who has I've always understood it, but I've never experienced it as such. And I think that I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone, but I think there's certainly a sense that people are struggling more than ever. What kind of technique and advice would you give anyone watching or listening, Lorna, that they could start to look at themselves to understand their mind more and allow themselves to kind of explore ways of becoming more mind positive, I feel like?
Okay. First one, dead easy one, is language. Really understand your language and how you're speaking. Remember what I was saying, that your language is understood and processed subconsciously. So we put meaning on words subconsciously, unconsciously, we don't know we do it. So the brain will put meaning, emotion and feeling onto the things that you say. So a great example of a word here's one tip that you could be well aware of if you're about to embark on a new fitness regime or a healthy eating lifestyle. Stop using the word try. There's a great one, right? So try is an incredibly limiting word. Why? Because it implies failure. Think about this, that if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? And how many times have you heard from your pal and you've said, oh, how are you doing with your 10,000 steps a day thing? Oh, I tried, but I didn't have the time. Or, John, how you been doing with your healthy eating plan? Oh, it didn't work. I tried, but it didn't work. So they failed.
I'm not laughing at this guy. I'm just laughing at that. You hear it a lot. I tried to do it. I tried.
The work that I do is very much working around language patterns. So the word try is a really, like I say, limiting word. Try can and is an excuse subconsciously for so many all sorts of things. So stop using the word try and change it up to a more yes or no language. Be very clear what you're going to achieve, and your brain will make it happen. Try keeps us stuck. Try is lying. So if you want to fail a task or a new thing and that you want to achieve in your life, tell yourself you're going to try.
I love that. I think we're all shaking our heads and kind of laughing and smirking there, because it's language is key, isn't it?
Language, absolutely.
And you've got down here, Lorna, which I love, is that Lorna is mildly provocative with her approach, and I think that's what we're getting here. It's like, look, we have to have these uncomfortable conversations. We have to sometimes change our own language.
What's that whole? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine. I'm fine. Of course, the brain will make sure you're fine. Only fine. Do you want to just be fine? So it's like,
change the language.
Great. Thanks, I'm great.
Yeah.
It's that.
Absolutely. I listened to a podcast recently very quickly, and it was Oprah Winfrey and some expert on mindfulness, and it was about the power of saying, I will. So it was, today I will do this. Today I will make sure I achieve this. Today I will, rather than it will maybe or
there's a part of your brain.
Try and do that.
There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, right? And that is what it is. It'll find what you're looking for. So it's the part, see when you buy a new car. So you bought your new Fiesta and it's a red Fiesta. The minute you drive out Arnold Clark, you see red Fiestas everywhere. So there's a part, whatever you want, whatever you're saying, your brain will find it. And that's why it's so important to change your language to more yes language. And it will find it.
Excellent insight, Lorna. Thanks for sharing that with us. So language, really getting that there, and the importance of that. Ricky, we're all at home, we can't get to our gym. There may be some people who can get a personal trainer. There may be people who have a nice wee gym set up at home. But for those of us who who even running right now for me is an ice rink in our estate. I think I've nearly set my neck about 6 times. What can people do at home right now to keep some form of exercise? I appreciate they can walk, they can go for a wee donner, but what would you recommend people could do at home right now to keep some form of exercise in their life?
So what we've been doing with kind of clients and like kind of friends and stuff is just kind of online home workouts. Just using your own body weight. So things like, say, like a kind of set a timer on your stopwatch, 15 minutes. So 10 squats, 10 sit-ups, 10 lunges and 10 press-ups. So if you do that for 10, 15 minutes, you're going to feel the benefit of doing something like that. It's going to help you feel a wee bit better. It's going to release your kind of good positive hormones, going to lead you to kind of better food choices and things like that. So I would just say, like, to kind of get moving, just keep it super simple. You don't need to think of the most complex training plan to do in your house. Just find a wee bit of space and just do the simple things that will just kind of get the body moving and get the body stronger and get your mind working stronger as well.
So get, again, simple, get moving. Basically, get up and get moving. So if you're in a bungalow, maybe walk around the floor space of your house. If you've got stairs in your house, walk up and down stairs 20 times. There is things we can do. Sometimes though, Ricky, is that motivation though, isn't it, guys? Collectively, it's that whole, we know we should be doing it, but we just don't always have that desire right now, because the mind's saying we're in lockdown.
Yeah, so I'm speaking to a lot of people, and there's a huge load of knowledge on YouTube with kind of home workouts and stuff. But like you're saying, Frank, is see the ones that are struggling with that accountability and stuff. That's where I feel that maybe you want to get a coach and do some online Zoom sessions where you've got to log in and you've actually got to do the session in front of the coach. So probably if you're struggling to kind of do it on your own, just kind of link up and do something with someone there.
Yeah, so there's that commitment and that kind of maybe like pressure to show up and move, basically. Again, another good point there. Ayesha, food. So we're the mind's in a good place. We've changed the language. We're now not saying I'm going to try eat less dairy. I'm now saying this week I will change to skimmed milk or whatever it may be. That's the almond milk. You're probably like, no, not almond milk. But change the language, do some simple stuff in the house by get moving, and then I've decided, okay, what am I going to try and make this week? Ayesha, over to you. What are we making?
Okay, there's loads of things you can do, but to keep it super simple, if you don't have a lot of time, so I know people don't, is do a one pot meal. Is literally stick everything in a pot. So my go-to when I've not got a lot of time is, I love chickpeas. Chickpeas are full of protein and full of fibre, which are great, and they're cheap. So you stick your chickpeas in a pot, your brown rice, which is better than your white rice, a sweet potato, which is your good carb, an onion, some garlic, some seasoning, maybe stock cube with some water. Stick it in a pot and let it cook for half an hour. And literally that's it, and just enjoy it. It's just super simple. You don't have to do loads of preparation. You don't have to stand over a stove for an hour. It's just throw it in a pot and then add in maybe some leafy greens for good measure, so you've got some colour in there. So yeah.
Can you have a bit of kind of grated parmesan or something in the top? with a glass of Pinot Grigio. I'm obviously joking. A glass of water.
No, I do say everything in moderation. So
everything in moderation. So just so we're getting this right. So a pot, is it boiling water? Do you stick the chickpeas in the boiling water with the rice?
Just put onion, garlic in a pot first, with a little bit of oil. Then add all your chickpeas and your rice and your sweet potato, chopped sweet potato. Cover it with water so it's just covered, and your stock cube, and that's it. You're good to go. Really.
Excellent. And roughly that takes how long?
Half an hour.
Half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour on the stove, you'll be fine on a low heat.
Do you have a name for it? Is it your own dish?
Yeah, I kind of made it up as I go along. You can always swap the vegetables out. So I sometimes don't use sweet potato and I'll use cauliflower. So yeah, one pot wonder.
One pot wonder.
One pot wonder, there you go.
Let's get trying that then. Sounds great. Okay, so
can I go back to the point that Vicky was making?
Of course.
I struggle with getting myself motivated to work out or to do any kind of form of movement. But I've started, so every time I boil the kettle now, I do 20 squats.
Brilliant.
So
Wow,
I
I
feel
like
like
that.
that's something else which really helps. So now I think, oh, I've got to boil the kettle, I've got to do 20 squats. So if I'm boiling the kettle 5-6 times a day, that's a lot of squats for me.
Yeah.
For someone who doesn't
That's
move.
good. That's brilliant.
So I just think that adding a habit onto something that you're already doing is actually can stick quite well.
Yeah.
That, again, I think that's a good point. That's certainly one to be looking at. That could even be whilst you're brushing your teeth in the morning. You do some squats. Yeah, there's so many things we could be adding into your habits. Now, when you're boiling that kettle, Aysha, that's obviously for lemon tea or ginger tea or peppermint tea. It's not for a cappuccino with some chocolate on top, is it?
No, it's not, but maybe you might want to do that if you're doing the squats. Balance. It's all about balance.
All about balance. Okay, guys, we'll get one collective question, then we're going to finish off with the 3 questions that I always ask my guests when they're on for every great conversation. But before we get into the 3 questions, I want to ask a collective question that we'll go around and get your thoughts. To anyone listening, watching this, what a time, let's be honest. I know we're batting on about this a lot, but we are as a global community going through something that we've never experienced before. And albeit we can read news, we can watch inspirational TED Talks, we can listen to podcasts and watch YouTube channels to get ideas and inspiration to make us feel better. It can be hard and it's daunting for people right now. But for anyone watching and listening, what would you say to anyone watching and listening this the first episode of the new season? What would you say to them to kind of inspire them and to get them feeling, look, go for it. Just go for it, guys. See, this year, it's difficult, but do you know what? Go for it. Now, I know I'm putting you in the spot here, but what would your advice be? Lorna, any thoughts?
Make this your year, new year, new you. It's dead easy. I'm all about that anyway. So for me, it's changing your language. It's knowing where you want. What do you want out of life, and already believing that you're there. So already talking about whilst I continue to lose the weight and I'm continuing to get fitter, what else can I put in my life that's even more fun while I achieve my goals to get fitter and healthier? Whatever your goal is, make your talk as if you're already doing it. Really believe it to be true, and your brain will find it. Yeah.
Talk as if you're already there.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's really important, isn't it? It's a nice phrase, it's a nice way to think about things. Talk about that you're already there. Good, great stuff. Lorna, Ricky?
Mine would just be get started. That you get started. You've just become I think we've come through the worst of it. Like I think like we're kind of I want to hopefully we're looking at a light at the end of the tunnel here, so we're towards the end of it. But you've come through the worst of it. Just get started now. There's no point kind of dwelling on kind of the past now. You just got to get motivated and go for it. Do you know what I mean? So this COVID hasn't like stopped you from you're still there. You're still standing. So you've came through the worst, right? Just go out and get what it is you want now. Do you know what I mean? Because if we've all got our own businesses, if our businesses were meant to fail, were meant to kind of collapse, they would have collapsed already. We're still standing. I would probably say we're in probably the last lockdown, hopefully. Don't quote me on it. Once we get through it, we're there, we've made it, just go out there and do it. Do you know what I mean? Things you've been putting off for the last 6 months of the year, go and get them. Do you know what I mean? Because the opportunity is going to be there now to go out there and grab the bull by the horns.
Love it. Brilliant. Some brilliant words from both of you. Aysha, over to yourself.
Yeah, it's again what I said earlier. I think it's just starting small. Do one small. If you can make one small change, small change makes a big change. So creating a small thing maybe in the morning, creating a small habit in the morning, like I said, adding on some squats onto boiling your kettle, because really what are you doing when you boil a kettle? And just utilising these small things, I think will make it. It's really helped me because I have struggled in certain times. I've been up and down, and actually, making a small change has made a huge difference.
Fantastic. Wise words, and thank you so much for sharing your insight, inspiration and spark, guys. I very much appreciate it. Okay, Forever Getting Conversation asks every episode's guest 3 questions. This season, obviously, in my first episode, I've got 3 incredible guests, so we've got a question each. So I'm going to go, where will I go first? Let's go to Ricky first, and let's just make sure that I get the right question for you, Ricky, so I don't ask you something that you weren't already going to get asked. So, Ricky, yours was your favourite quote. What's a quote that's pertinent to you, or that you go back to every now and again for a bit of perspective or a bit of sanity?
So the one I really like is the one from Rocky Five. A lot of you probably guys have heard it. It's the one about when the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Life's gonna hit you hard. It's gonna knock you down. But it's how hard can you get hit and keep on going? And it just kind of fits exactly with the kind of time we're in just now. Like, how hard is Corona hit, but we're still going. We're gonna keep going. So that's my quote, and that's what I would advise everybody to get on your screensaver on your phone.
I love it, and I think it is very apt, that quote right now, isn't it? It's like we've all had a bit of a kicking in some shape or form. Some a lot more than others, let's be honest. Some people have had a real tough time, and our thoughts are with everyone who's obviously lost anyone during what's been a really scary year. Again, a tough quote, but a nice ending to it, Ricky. It
hit hard, and everybody. It's been a hard time. We've all been hit hard, but you're still there. Keep going. You know what I mean? Keep moving forward.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Now, when we can get out and view Scotland, because we've got a beautiful country that we're all from and we all love, when we can go and visit places in Scotland, I don't know when that will happen again, unless it's your favourite park somewhere in Ayrshire, Lorna, within 5 miles. But when you get a chance to go and explore Scotland, where's your favourite place to go to in Scotland, Lorna?
Oh, right. You're going to laugh, but you might know. I don't know. It's Irvine Beach. It's as simple as Irvine Beach. I'll tell you why, because Irvine Beach evokes so many memories from me from childhood, you know, from going with my mum and my siblings growing up. That's where we went as a teenager, hanging out, you know, my bottle of Mad Dog. And, you know, even and as a young mum, when I had Ross, I would take him down there. And now it's the place where you'll find me when I'm feeling a little bit wobbled or just disconnected, and when I head there, it evokes all the senses, you know, it takes you back to your memories, what you saw, felt, heard, all that stuff, smell. So that's the place for me, and it's only down the road, and I can't go there now because we're in lockdown, but when this is lifted, I'm away down to Irvine Beach because it really makes me feel great.
Fantastic. It's a beautiful, I live in Irvine, and Irvine Beach is one of my favourite places where we're very lucky.
I love it.
So I look forward to seeing you down there one time, Lorna.
Thanks.
Aisha, the final question is over to yourself, Aisha, in terms of the inspiration. We all need people and figures across the world to inspire us right now. Who's the person, individual that's inspired you or inspires you right now?
Gosh, it's a big question. I think I feel inspired by different people at different times. I think it's really important to keep learning and to keep growing, whether it's personally or whether it's within your business. So I think being inspired is just an amazing thing. It's just like taking key things from other people. But I mean, it might sound cliched, but my parents have been incredible to me. They have encouraged me to do what I want to do. They show me great strength, and their work ethic has been incredible over the years, and it's really inspired me to really go for it and keep going, just like you said. So it's just important, be inspired by everything you do and everything you see. Absolutely,
great stuff. So from Irvine Beach to some rocky stuff to being inspired by your parents. What a great way to end. Ricky, Lorna and Aisha, thank you so much for giving us your time, for being part of the Wellness Special for Forever Great in Conversation. Thanks for sharing your insight, your knowledge, your inspiration, some of your tools as well, and some of the stuff in the toolkit. And I'm sure everyone watching and listening will be able to take something from this, whether it be a habit when they're boiling the kettle, changing their language, starting small in their house with some exercise, drinking more water. So there's plenty of things that people could take from this conversation to get us kicked off in 2021. Folks, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Again, thanks to all my guests. I very much respect and appreciate their time. Until next time, stay safe, look after yourself, and thanks for all your support with Forever Great in Conversation. Take care.